Hey everybody, what's going on? Dr. Jeff May here with the Doctor's Orders. For those of you guys watching in and around on Facebook, we're getting rolling here. But I'm not alone in the studio today, which is awesome.
We're never alone.
Never. That's probably true. But we're going to get into that because I got on set, on studio here, we've got Britt Ringstrom, Minnesota native.
Yep.
Okay, Minnesota native. I first met Britt, it would have been CrossFit Chan. Okay, this is years and years ago. But the reason I asked Britt on today was essentially saying, hey, functional fitness, functional movement, been in the healthcare game, you know a lot in and around helping people move, okay, in a healthy, positive way. And I think this is important when, especially even healthcare providers, we may even get into that some too, when they may not feel they've got all the expertise, is talking to somebody that says, hey, what do you know about this? What do you know about that? So Britt, just real introduction. When did let's jump into some questions here. So grew up in
Sartell, Minnesota.
No way, I just learned this about you. Okay, This is good.
Very, very, just slightly north of here. So northern girl, if you will. Sartell, Minnesota. And do you want a short rundown?
Yeah, I mean Sartell's a good start.
Sartell,
right?
Sweet Sartell. We were snobs apparently growing up. Really? Is what I not in the least, but no, because it was outside of St. Cloud, and from a competition standpoint, you were always head to head with St. Cloud schools versus Sartell.
I got in-laws in Sartell.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Still, absolutely. I've got some nephews in Sartell.
It's a great place. It was very tiny when we moved there. We actually relocated there from Hutchinson. My dad is a retired police chief. Love him. He's fantastic. So he was a police chief in town there for a very long time. And so you just kind of knew everybody, but it's been cool to watch how much it's grown in Sartell. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Wild. But on the movement standpoint, Dad was a big piece for me, watching him and how he kept himself always moving and playing sports. He did, or I did, whatever have you. And then I really got heavy into the world of movement, if you will, and its relevancy and why it is so important for everybody out there.
So when did your dad had a big inspiration to move? When did it become something that you wanted to learn more about, not just like do? Because some people, I noticed, they'll do the events, they like it, but yours goes deeper than that. And knowing you and your knowledge base, when did the knowledge be? When did you want to learn more about it?
I actually would go to the gym with him. So we would go to, I want to say it was Midtown Fitness. I think it was right downtown St. Cloud. And at the time, he was a cop, and he had a standard for all of his police officers to be in good condition, good shape, because of the job and, what it entails. And I just always thought that was so cool, and it was a good way for me to extend my energy because I played sports, hockey, soccer, ran track. But just being in a gym setting of a community of like-minded individuals that simply just want to move, whether it's to feel better, whether it's their doctor's orders, whether they are rehabbing from something.
Did you use the podcast title there on purpose? That was pretty impressive.
I totally did.
That was impressive. That was impressive.
Bink.
Spotify,
Drop that in for
iTunes,
you.
Wherever you listen to it, ask Alexa. She'll tell you.
She's currently listening, and I'm going to chime up at any point here.
Right.
So we did, I would just go to the gym with him, and I'd watch him, or I'd do a spin class with him, or he would lift, and I would, I was a kid. I was like 12, 13, 14 years of age. I think I might have even as young as 10. But just watching him move and then getting so heavy into sports. And of course, junior high, being a kid, who didn't play and who didn't run around and play sports and all those things. But, and that kind of extended on, and I became very curious about it watching him. Yeah. Became very curious about it watching people that actually were not in pain, people that actually were moving to their full potential. And, you don't understand it until later on, years and years down the road. But if you look back at that, people that are moving, we move every single day in our lives. But I think with technology, with the advancements of that, people have stopped moving, whether it's because things are just easier for us because of what we have in front of us, or we lose motivation. But what is motivation?
That's big, yeah.
But, Mel Robbins, she always says motivation is garbage. Is it really? It very well could be. What do you think?
It's possible. I think I think people let discouragement and guilt and shame of not accomplishing. So like we even talk about with our patients, like on a simple motivational level, we try and drop content that'll help get you started, but at the end of the day, your personal accountability with things in realizing that if you sucked yesterday, okay, it's not okay to suck again today and change it. So very, very simple with that. So yeah, I think motivation will carry you so far, but it seems like anybody who has gone through struggles, which is everybody, or those things at some point says, I'm determined and committed to doing this, whether I feel like it or not.
Yes. Do you think that the thought process of, one of the greatest things you ever hear is that life is going to keep moving forward. Human beings, life, existence, creatures, the planet, the universe is going to continue to move forward. That's just a fact.
True, I agree.
And I think sometimes when we get knocked backwards a little bit here and there, no matter if it's an injury or if it's you lost your job, or it's maybe you lost a loved one, or it's a state of depression that you might find yourself in. I think it's almost like you have to hold yourself accountable to the degree of, okay, I have 18 hours to be upset about this, or to be mad about this, or to be sad about this. Doesn't mean you have to brush under the rug and not heal from it, but then you got to move forward. You got to keep going.
For sure.
And there's steps to take in order to feel better, whatever that better is, right?
Yeah.
So
I like that you hit on, I don't know, someone probably named it somewhere, of that time clock you allow yourself to be in, that guilt or shame or that sadness. But then once the timer's off, it's go.
Yes.
And I think people are probably sitting there listening. By the way, share this on Facebook, share this on Instagram, wherever you're at. If you have questions, type them in the comments. We'll get to them probably post show edits, and whatnot. But we've talked a lot about functional movement already, so that's good.
We have.
But that's so key, because I think, interestingly enough, there's probably like plenty of sources out there to get started moving. Yeah. But if you don't address the mindset even before the movement, then there's going to be issues on that. So that's interesting. So let's jump back into your story a little bit, because Britt, by the time I met you, you're pretty accomplished, and you won't say that. But most accomplished people don't say that, is what I know for a fact. I remember, so here's part of the reason I wanted to talk with Britt and expose her more to our office, and you've been on a few things before, but I remember the morning at 5 a.m. when I used to go to 5 a.m. Workouts.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know. Anyway, that's a different story. I don't know if it's harder in the winter with the light or whatever.
Oh, it is detrimental to your soul for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You realize this is terrible. It is freezing. The sun isn't coming up for 3+ more hours. Yeah. Am I the only person existing right now that's awake? Maybe, potentially. Right. And then you get there and there's like 12, 13, 14, 16 other people that are all on the same page. We're all tired. Yeah. But we're going to do this. And you chirp up some awesome music.
There's such a good 5 a.m. crew, though.
And that's the thing. Then it's like, okay, we're going to move on. And you end up feeling so good by the end of it.
So I remember one of those mornings, okay? And it was the draft for the Boston Iron. Remember this?
Yes.
So what you guys don't know is there was a thing called the Grid League, and it was CrossFit-esque, but also a lot of gymnastics, powerlifting in there, and it was on NBC, I believe. They took it on as a show and had the Grid League. So there was probably 12 teams across the U.S.
I think about 10 or 12 teams. Yeah. Exactly. And so they started out as a smaller aspect, and then they grew. And then they took on a contract with a broadcast network, i.e. NBC or whatever it was for that season. But it was cool because you had like the top of gymnasts and you had the top of heavyweight movers. And then you had a few kind of hybrid athletes, i.e. CrossFit athletes that were very well-rounded. And you threw them on a team together. And you have 7 men, 7 women on a team. Or was it 7 or is it 5? I forget now. I think it's 7. And you're cycling in and out against another team. Yeah. So it's head-to-head with male-female combined teams. It was super fun. The people that you met, from Russia to Sweden to fun, wonderful Canadians. Anything and everything you had.
Yeah, so you were drafted by the Boston Iron.
Correct.
Yeah, to play or to compete for Boston. I remember the morning at CrossFit, we were kind of watching the draft, and we okay, so like back then I didn't know you as well, but we were all sitting there and we're like, oh my gosh, a team is going to pick up our coach, essentially. It was a cool thing.
Yeah.
I realized looking back, but somewhere in my Instagram, on my personal one, I have a picture. I took a picture with you that day.
Yeah.
And it was like onto the Boston Iron or something. I still have highly Boston Iron shorts. FYI.
Yes.
In support of
I
Britt.
have 2 high elite pairs of pants that you can have if you'd like.
I've
I've been trying to pawn them off on somebody.
Yeah, it was a good brand. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to get Britt on here, because of your experience. You got to travel, you got to compete, you got to do a lot of cool things, meet a lot of cool people. But yet still at the core of it, keep functional fitness a thing. Now, let's shift gears a little bit. Why has functional movement been so important to you from a health standpoint?
I think not in two worlds. I don't want to divide it by any means. For 2 big reasons for me was to show and remind human beings that we're meant to move and crawl and climb and jump and extend and twist and everything under the sun, right? But at the same time, we're meant to do that. We're creatures. We have this animal instinct to a lot of things, and when we get so wrapped up in technology or sitting or being sedentary, we kind of forget that. So you need that reminder. And sure, it branches off in so many different avenues: weightlifting, gymnastics. You're an endurance athlete. You are a rotational sport, or you are on ice. You know what I mean? Whatever it may be, we all need to move, and we need to find those natural movement patterns. Because I think the term functional movement can go in so many directions, but really it doesn't have to. Sure. It's just moving as we were initially intended to move when we were created. Yeah. And whether it's someday you're doing 3 straight minutes of crawling up a treadmill at a 10% incline, and the next day maybe you're literally running in a forward plane, in a forward direction. And maybe the next day you're on a unicycle and you are rock climbing and you're doing some heavy barbell movements. But I think knowing that what your body is capable, so many people haven't even tapped into. And people that are well into their 30s, 40s, 50s that don't realize, dude, you're a badass. Like, you could do so many cool things. Yeah. Everybody has that capability. Yeah, you just have to tap into that.
So the person sitting there is like, I can't, I won't. What Britt just described isn't you have to have this vast amount of knowledge of those things. You literally can put the treadmill on an incline and crawl on it. Now, some people get shy at the gym, whatever. But moving, there's going to be a big push from the office this year, and you'll see this in our marketing and our educational things, getting back to your genetic programming in terms of movement, meals, mindset, those things, because in a lot of ways with the movement, like you're kind of hinting on, we're not that far off from animals. No,
we are not.
If we think about that. But yet what we do to our bodies on a consistent basis, and unfortunately fortunately we get to deal with, what on the healthcare side of things, especially with chiropractic and some of the different modalities we use in our office, is what the consequences of not moving. Mm-hmm. Literally just not moving your body on a consistent daily basis, the consequences that come with that. Yep. And knowing that a big push of ours is lifestyle disease. Well, yeah. A lifestyle disease is being sedentary. Mm-hmm. That is a disease. Mm-hmm. So I like that, Britt. What about, so we're kind of in the journey and the movement. You went through the grid league, doing those things. Why are you still doing it? This is kind of some fun questions. Why still? Not that we talked a little off camera about, we're about the same age. So we're coming into not quite a different season of our lives, but what still gets you up in the morning and want to help people? Because I've seen you coach a lot of people, and you're great at it. You've got a heart for it. What's that about?
Well, it's something that will be instilled in me until the day I die, is to be able to help other human beings feel better, to do better, but to hold themselves, or to know that it's okay to hold yourself to a little higher standard. It's okay to push yourself, but also to give yourself some grace and find that equal balance. Because I did that, 2012, 2014. I did a TED Talk, and the main focus of that, I wish I could redo that, by the way. It's funny when you look back at conversations or talks you've done, you're like, you hate all of it. You want to redo 75% of it. But the biggest thing was all aspects of health, 7 aspects of health. And now there's different wheels, and for some it's 5 aspects of health, for some it's 7. But it's not just always about the aesthetic. And that whether, you have to look at the mental side of things, the social side of things, the spiritual side of things, everything coming together. And I hate using the word balance, you know what I mean? But it's having at least some sort of ebb and flow and touching on each of those points.
Sure.
So you're not so heavy in one angle.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm going to side tangent here. Anyway, but that's why I do it is I know what it's like to feel so terrible every morning when you wake up. And sorry, audience, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I was diagnosed when I was 20 years of age.
See, and so many people are just like, what?
Yeah.
Because they heard of what you've been doing.
Yeah.
And what you do. And I will tell you that what Britt says in terms of her physical capability is she's playing it short, right? Because you've done some cool things. Now, granted, she'll say no or whatever she says next. I don't care. But because you compare yourself to you and what you want to do and those things. But the fact of the matter is I want to point this out because this was just on a live this morning that we were talking about winning versus whining.
Yeah.
You've been given, okay, if we're going to talk about the world stuff, who knows where this goes. But
yeah,
let's
roll with it.
Yeah, you've been given a label, let's just call it that, in a certain condition that does affect your body. It's real, and those things. But in some people's eyes, you've been given an excuse not to do the things you've been doing. Mm-hmm. So what's up with that? All
right, well, so at 20... I was a sprinter in college. Just to give you a quick little history of it. Sprinter in college and playing hockey. And I all of a sudden started developing trigger finger. Hands were locking up. Then it started spread down to my feet, to my knees, to my ankles, to my jaw. And I couldn't move. And then it became worse and worse. Every day you wake up so tired and you essentially are crawling because everything hurt so bad. And I'm not exaggerating that. Like I literally couldn't walk some days, and it takes a couple hours for your body to start to acclimate and adapt. So I go to a specialist, and then I go to another specialist, and then I go to a rheumatologist, and they test my numbers and, tell you, yeah, you have very high elevated rheumatoid factor, or a very elevated level of it.
Sure.
And so from there, you have RA. They did MRIs and X-rays and looked at things and said, if you don't stop moving right now, you're going to have both knees and hips replaced before you're 30. Wow. Now, this is a doctor standing there looking at me in a wheelchair who also has RA. And she's telling me, you must stop moving.
She told you to stop moving.
Or stop doing the things I'm doing, which was running in college. Or I'm sorry, running track. And then it was playing hockey and just weightlifting and, being a kid. But I couldn't do a lot of those things because the pain was getting so bad. So I just found that very, very weird and interesting to hear, perplexing, if you will, because here stands a doctor in also a wheelchair telling me, a 20-year-old kid, stop moving. And, days when you feel terrible, I need you to just rest. Well, what about the alternative? Okay, so there are 2 prescriptions they're giving you is less movement. This isn't me throwing any doctor under the bus, by the way. That's not at all the intent here. Stop moving and take this medication. No conversations were had around, hey, what does your nutrition look like? What do you put in your body every single day? Whether it's supplementation, how much water are you drinking? Those simple questions should be asked from the very beginning, and they're not. And so when you tell me, take this drug, stop moving, what?
Yeah, and that's it.
So I basically became diligent and so determined I was going to find my own way out of this shit, which was feeling like crap every day, not being able to walk. I would cry a lot of mornings because I was so tired of being in so much pain. I'm like, I'm 20 years old. I'm supposed to be, jumping around, playing, being a young kid, going to parties, jumping off of whatever, being stupid, right? Being a kid.
Right.
And I can't do any of that because I'm just like mangled over here on the sidelines. So I started digging into nutrition. I started digging into hot and cold therapies. I did a ton of sauna therapy. I would literally sit and put my legs and submerge them in my yard in the snow when flare-ups were that bad. Got heavy into acupuncture, into yoga, but I really started getting bigger into heavy lifting, realizing that I am building support around my joints for this, and this actually feels really good.
But Britt, you're not a doctor. How did you know
I'm not
all
a doctor,
this
so
training?
I should probably stop.
That was fun.
Oh my God. When it was interesting. So referring back to that doctor, rest in peace, she passed away.
Right.
And what I was told and record shows is she passed away from rheumatoid arthritis. So the question becomes, in older times, when medicine was at a much different state than it is now, what did they do to solve these problems? Or did they not do anything at all? Or was there no conversation around nutrition? Well, then we can go deeper into alternative medicine and where medicine used to be versus where, when things took a turn with the Rockefellers. Not to chime that in, but I'm going to.
Sure.
You look at what was practiced in medicine before that time and how effective it was, and to then all of a sudden switching to this entirely new practice of medicine that's coming from, take this pill, take this drug, and you must live by this, versus, hey, let's talk about your nutrition.
Right.
Let's talk about your mental state, because emotional pain or emotional altering feelings, if you will, they have just as equal of an impact on our immune system than everything else does, or as everything else does. So, that was a little side tangent. But
I'm not a real doctor. I'm just a chiropractor, but I agree.
Yeah, total quackery. How do you even do what you do?
It's hard to wake up some mornings, but
it is.
We get after it.
Just hurting people one day at a time.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what.
Come in here and just jam them up.
Oh no, and that's to your point. It's like, it's funny because when Dr. Jensen was on here a few weeks ago,
I hope I'm not in trouble for bringing up some of that
zero.
stuff.
No. This is back when people could have conversations and agree to disagree.
Back when conversations were had and comedy was cool.
It's amazing.
Why did you all stop laughing, by the way? Audience, I'm curious. Like, why did we stop laughing?
Comment below, share that one. But no, it is funny because those conversations in around, hey, because there are at times, and I will go on record and say this, there are at times where there's a period of time chemically where medicine has come so far.
Yep.
And there's amazing things in that. The problem is when people rely on that to be healthy. The conversation, I'm still on the fence on some of these things, on where, is it a time issue? Do certain doctors being rushed as saying, hey, we just got to get this protocol out? They're being educated by pharmaceutical companies, that have a business agenda versus a human being agenda.
Yep.
There's a lot of things in there, but I want to help people advocate for themselves. When you come to the table, you should have a goal. You should have data on where you're at and how far you are from that goal, and a plan that includes home care as a massive piece of it should be included.
Yeah.
So,
do you think it's to answer your question as far as do they just not have time? And I think that we're living in such an interesting era right now, an interesting time with the world of medicine. Are you labeled as alternative medicine, technically?
It's been labeled that, yeah, for sure.
So you're labeled as alternative medicine. It's just, maybe you should try that, maybe you shouldn't, which I obviously am a huge advocate of what you do. But then the world of general practice, or just going into your standard Western medicine doctor. Now, it's sad for me because I feel like some of them are taking such heat right now in the world that we live in today.
Totally.
Today, February 1st, 2022. Doctors, you guys are fantastic, and thank you for what you do. It's unfortunate when there's a percentage, I hope it's small,
right,
but that have the wrong intentions. And the others, sometimes it's like, well, maybe they don't have a lot of time, because I think Chris Kresser, Unconventional Medicine, I don't know if you've read it or not, great book.
I'm not. Nope.
I'll send it to you. Chris Kresser, he talks about that as far as doctors are only allotted a very short window of time. I think the average is like 7 minutes with a patient. Think about that. You have 7 minutes to quickly cover with someone who you probably barely know. You see them maybe once a year.
Right.
Hey, how's your life going? How's your mental state? How's your physical state? What are you eating? How do you feel at night? Do you feel safe at home? What hurts on your body? Like, those are big grounds to cover if they want to be genuine about it. How are they supposed to do that with that short window? Because they're trying to shovel in as many as they can. It's not their fault. Nope. But so where are we missing, right? But like you said, people are going to that because they want to feel better. Those conversations need to be had if you want to feel better. Yeah. And sometimes it means taking more time with each individual patient.
Yeah, and I think that's why part of this is why these podcasts are so important, is because at some point, you realize no matter where you're at watching this, you're a role model to somebody. It could be a friend. If you're not a parent, if you're not married, doesn't matter. It's the fact that you had your dad growing up, okay, and you've got, so many clients that look up to you in a lot of certain ways. This is how education gets passed down for years and years and years, because we're able to see, hey, what works for someone, let me try it out, and you get to navigate these things. So that's why these podcasts are important, to realize that the end all say all isn't what your doctor labels you as. This just doesn't hold water anymore. And I think that's the power of, people will be like, oh, we're on our phones more and all those things. But yet there's the positive side of it, is saying, hey, we're access to all this technology and this information, and being your own advocate for your health is crucial. Like, you cannot rely on a third party system to make sure you're healthy. Like, there's no way. You will fail every single time.
You have to take 100% responsibility and accountability for your body, for yourself. And I think that's such an argument that's had right now, but I don't understand. It doesn't have to be such a crazy argument. It's really simple if you think about it. You are responsible for your body. That's it. And I think that comes down to how children are, what they're taught at a young age is you're going to take responsibility for yourself. I'm your parent. I'm going to be here indefinitely for the rest of your life, or the rest of my life, however that works. But teaching kids at a young age that there will come a time when you may be alone for a minute or for a year, and you have to step up and take responsibility, because no one else is going to do it for you.
Right.
And whether that's your health, whether that's your finances, whether that's your relationships, all you can do is you. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I love that stuff. Like, these are the conversations I love having, because one, they're rare today, unless the headlines involve scandal or the beer virus. Like, they don't get a lot of attention these days, and so these are the conversations. You know what I mean? Yeah, these are the conversations that
let's make up a new name every time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I like the beer virus.
The beer virus, got it. Okay, perfect. We're gonna do that.
So, although I had one listener one time, they're like the beard virus, and then
the beard virus.
Yeah, they thought I had it. It was terrible. But that's okay. That's okay. So, I don't know, Britt.
Our code words.
Yeah. So let's kind of, like, as we wrap this episode, and giving people in doctor's orders, I like to, the tagline is advice you should actually take.
Yep.
As you go through. For someone out there, and I'm going to go right to my patients, my demographic I get, in big town Jordan, Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I love taking care of Midwest.
Adorable, by the way.
Yeah, I love it.
Adorable.
I love it. Well, and then, the new health center makes it easy to come to work.
Yes.
For sure.
By the way, if you guys haven't seen his studio, it is stunning.
It's amazing. I mean, my wife designed everything. It's beautiful, for sure.
If you don't know Olivia,
get to know her, for sure.
She is a damn saint.
She is. Put up with me for 14 years, for sure.
I think you guys are so perfect for each other. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so. Liv, I love you. There we go. But in all those aspects of saying, okay, where do I get started? I'm nervous. What movements, if you could sum up some that are important for them to start. Mm-hmm. Some people are scared to go to a gym, right? And the gym isn't where health lives, by the way. I know a lot of people that have a set of stairs in their house and you just start walking them. But I want to hear from you. You're our expert today on this. So I'm a farmer. Mm-hmm. I've just got done with the harvest. We're working on equipment, but we're more focused on ice fishing this time of year and laying low. Yep. But I know I got to get ready, because come springtime, there's work to be done. What are some key things I should be doing?
Moving forward. Step one, okay? Anybody, if we want to grow, we've got to be moving in a forward direction. And when I say that, I don't mean just walking a straight line straight ahead. You want to make sure that make some tangible goals for yourself. Okay, I just want to feel better. That's a great goal to start with. Okay, but what next? Are you trying to lower your cholesterol? But then that's a whole other conversation about cholesterol, right? Just saying the standard questions that come in doctor appointment. Yeah. Do you have pain of some sort? Or none of that? Great. You have to establish a goal, Because if you don't have a goal, you're just kind of aimlessly wandering in no direction. Kind of like one of those stupid vacuums that people have in their house that drive themselves.
Oh, the Roombas.
They just wander. Like
they don't do a great job anyway.
They stress me out because they don't go in straight, meticulous lines. There's no pattern. There's no. So anyway, what I'm saying with that, yes, I ramble a lot, is you've got to have a goal that you're working towards. And then from there, you work backwards. Okay, what are the steps I'm going to take to get to my goal? Or do I make 3 small goals within that big goal? Great, awesome. Okay, let's make a plan. No matter what it is. So let's say you want to get stronger and you're trying to drop some lbs because you are winded when you go up the stairs and you sleep at night. You're uncomfortable. Okay, so let's assess a couple things. How are your forward walking movement patterns? Okay, go for a walk. Start with maybe a walk around the block. Okay, not only are you going in that forward direction, you can also start to feel what hurts. Okay, does anything hurt? Do I feel good? Do I tend to lean or limp when I'm walking? Then you start to increase. Okay, just like I said, it's that forward movement. So every day making it a little more, either more challenging for you or trying something different that you haven't quite yet experimented with.
I love it.
So, you know, whether it's getting back down to our original patterns as little kids or even as a baby, starting from square one, which is laying on your back or on your stomach. And how are you going to roll yourself to your side, come to a seating position, and then stand up, getting up off the ground? Okay, something as simple as that to, okay, I'm going to teach myself how to actually crawl again. It seems silly. I think I look stupid. No, you don't. Starting with the crawling, and then go to climbing, and then start pulling, and then start pushing. Okay, if you look at the collective, what that all means, right, is our bodies are not meant to be, yes, I'm sitting cross-legged, I always do. We're not meant to be in this tiny ball at all times. We're meant to reach, extend, push, pull things down, push things away, twist, rotate, adapt to anything that's thrown at us. That's functional movement. And I think everybody, no matter what their goal is, needs to be more versed in functional movement. And that could come as simple as, hey, I'm going to squat 400 pounds and I have 3 months to get through this strength cycle. Okay, great. But do a warm-up that entails functional movement patterns. Or I want to lose weight. Great. You're going to have XYZ as your program, but start out with some functional movement patterns, whether it's in your warm-up or it's incorporated into your workout. Yeah. I know it seems really confusing.
I love that stuff. It's not confusing at all. I think people are probably sitting there thinking, wow, that's too simple. Because they've overcomplicated it.
We overcomplicate literally fucking everything. Stop it. True. Stop it. It's really not that complicated. It's quite simple. But we get thrown. Why, I think, is because there's so much coming at us at once. We are constantly taking in more information and trying to absorb, but then we end up actually not really absorbing anything because there's so much happening around us. So you have to come to this more meditative state, or a stoic state, if you will. Sure. And actually focus on the current task at hand. I mean, you think about how much of society is they're all over the place. We don't commit to just one thing, or we're not present in the current moment. We're looking too far into the future, or we're sulking on the past, or we're whether we're dwelling or we're wishing we were still in the past of when things were prettier or wonderful. Oh, I miss the old before the pandy started, if you will. Right. You have to be in the very present moment. And that very present moment will allow you to focus more on you, the task at hand, and your goal.
I love that. Britt, I literally, I'm going to have everybody, as they play this back and they go through and they share this, is take those last 7 minutes and write out a game plan for yourself. Like this is the challenge I have to the listeners. This is the challenge I have to the people watching is simply, are you committed enough to yourself? Do you love yourself enough to take the last 7 minutes of what Britt said and put it into a tangible game plan and start?
Well, and don't be afraid to ask questions. If what I just said is either way too simple or it's too confusing, ask questions. We're here to help you. Do you know what I mean? If you don't know where to even begin or how to create a goal, some people don't know how to make a goal, and that's okay. Like those little things, there's always people that are here to help with that. And that, to answer your question of earlier, is why I love this. I have a real estate business I also run, but I have a lifestyle business. And I do both of them because I love them both. And people have asked, are you going to stop doing real estate? No. Or I'm sorry, stop training. No, I will never stop that because I think that humans have so much potential they've not even tapped into.
It's true. It's true. I love it, you guys. Well, I'm going to make sure in the show notes, I'll get whichever content or contact. I know you can follow it at Britt Ringstrom with 2 T's, right?
Are we talking Instagram?
Yeah. Or I don't know. Where do you want people to find you at? I don't know.
At Britt Ringstrom is great on Instagram, and that kind of ties in a little. I don't use Facebook a ton. I don't use Twitter a ton. I do have my email attached there.
I'm trying to get more into Twitter. I used to be big into Twitter, and I love Twitter because you just troll people.
Yep.
Like you just say random stuff.
Totally.
100%.
I think I need to get back in the swing
serious.
of that.
Yeah. If you need less serious social media platforms, Twitter is great for it.
It is. Yeah. There's still a lot of comedy on there.
Yeah.
See, maybe that's where comedy will come back, is through Twitter.
I think so. That's my banking on it.
I hope so.
But that's not the point of it. But yeah, follow Britt. Find her on Instagram. It'll be in the show notes.
Or just my first and last name at Gmail. So if you hate social media like a lot of us do, but yet we torture ourselves by staying on it.
Oh, yeah.
Just Britt Ringstrom at Gmail. So you can always reach out. It's 2 T's in Britt.
Yep. And then Ring, like Ringstrom,
like strum a guitar.
There it is.
Boom.
Yeah. It's UM? Strum?
OM.
See?
Oh, yeah. So, I confused you.
Forget that guitar.
Ringstrom, yes.
There you go. You can find that. I was like, my whole life for there, flash would blow my eyes if I didn't know how to spell strum. But thanks, you guys. Listen, this has been another awesome episode. I thank you, Brett, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, I got a special gift for you down in the store for coming on the show today. So I'll make sure you get that from the health center, which is cool. And we appreciate you as always. So you guys, let me know what you think of this. And as always, take this advice, put it to use, and those are your doctor's orders.